Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and Donald Trump just received some brutal news in his bid to regain the presidency of the United States. Now, before we dive too deeply into this breaking story, a bit of a reminder as to what Donald Trump has been up to and is guilty of these past few months. Donald Trump, the conman and criminal, was found guilty on all 34 counts against him related to business fraud and his Stormy Daniels hush money case. Prior to Trump's case kicking off in March, Judge Juan Merchan granted the prosecutor's request for Donald Trump to receive a gag order related to the trial. This gag order prevented Trump from publicly speaking about the case, the jurors, the testimony, and pretty much anything directly related to the trial. It should be noted, though, that this gag order did not prevent Donald Trump from speaking about the judge or the district attorney, Alvin Bragg. Now, this gag order is still in effect as of this recording, and Donald Trump broke this gag order 10 separate times very early on into his trial and received a $10,000 fine for each occasion of breaking the gag order. Now, in addition to these $10,000 fines, Merchan also threatened Trump with jail time if he refused to comply with the gag order. It would seem that these threats from Merchan did resonate with Trump, as he did back off to some degree with the attacks and breakings of the gag order. Nevertheless, Trump did continue to attack Merchan throughout the duration of his trial. And as we are all now very well aware, Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts of business fraud levied against him by a jury of his peers. And as a reminder, the jury selection and those in backup were agreed upon by both the defense and the prosecution. This trial was absolutely not a witch hunt, and the jury was very careful in their selection and deliberations. All of that is important to remember, as Donald Trump must absolutely be seething and foaming at the mouth with his inability to publicly speak or blast this trial. He cannot publicly speak or really lie about this trial to his base to rile them up, or perhaps name any of the jury or the prosecution in this trial to get his followers to act in the rash way that they so often do. He's a man that is incredibly guilty and can see the walls closing in around him. Now, it should be noted that Donald Trump and his legal defense team have been trying to challenge this gag order and get it terminated. Their claim is that Trump's inability to speak about this trial as the leading presidential candidate is stifling his freedom of speech and his constitutional right, as well as preventing the American voters the ability to see into this trial. They are also lambasting the fact that the trial has ended, and yet the gag order does not have a set termination date, at least as of this recording. That actually brings us nicely into the breaking news in the story we're going to be discussing today. As Donald Trump and his team have continued to fight against this gag order, we have just received word that New York's highest court has dismissed their appeal to have the gag order removed. Take a look at this clip and see for yourself the devastating news that Trump must, by law, remain silent and not publicly speak about his trial. Take a look.
We are back with more breaking news today. Another legal blow for Donald Trump. The New York Court of Appeals has denied Trump's request to hear his appeal of the gag order in his hush money case. The court saying there was, quote, no substantial constitutional question directly involved. It means the gag order, which prevents Trump from making public remarks against witnesses, jurors, staff, and families of the court and district attorney's office, is still in effect. Trump's sentencing is set for July 11th.
You know, I must say it is absolutely delightful to see Donald Trump being bound by law not to speak. The fact that Donald Trump cannot, by law, speak the lies that you know he would about his hush money trial is ultimate justice. To me, this is further emphasis of the damage and destruction that Donald Trump can inflict on not only our judicial system, but our entire way of living, our entire government, our entire country. He is dangerous and he is a liar, and the upholding of this gag order only further reinforces that we are not alone in knowing that Trump is dangerous. Now, it should be noted too that as we're receiving word on this breaking story, Trump does have other options available to him to challenge and possibly end this gag order. Now, according to CNN, Trump has 30 days to file a motion for leave to appeal, which is another avenue by which the court could end up hearing the case. And once that motion is filed, the court will again make a decision on whether to hear the case. Now, in their own filings to the appeals court requesting that the gag order be maintained, Bragg and his team wrote that Trump has a history of, quote, leveling threatening, inflammatory, and denigrating remarks against trial participants. And it would seem that Bragg's message was taken to heart, as here we are, Trump must remain gagged. Overall, this is a huge legal blow and a loss for Donald Trump, and further restricts him from continuing to perpetuate the lies that he so often does. And as we get closer to the first in a series of debates and showdowns between President Biden and Trump, this is only ammunition for Biden and his team to leverage against him. Overall, this is fantastic news and a victory for those of us in this country who don't support a wannabe fascist and convicted felon.